Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we're going to be jumping down into the world of XRP, reviewing what's been going on most recently with the price action, what I think is likely to happen next, and also taking a look at the latest news and developments when it comes to XRP. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? If you tap the bell and select all the notifications, you will in fact be kept up to date with all the video content that we put out here on the YouTube channel. If you're watching this on X and you're not yet following us, why not? Give us a follow. Really do appreciate that. And if you do find this content useful, then you can retweet this or repost it and send it out to more like-minded individuals. Really build out the community here at Cheeky Crypto. So let's waste no more time. Let's jump right down into today's video. Let's start things off by taking a look at that 1 hour time frame. So here we have XRP paired up with USDT. We're using the Bitget spot exchange. And yeah, we're still quite well within our kind of ranging market from yesterday's video. Not much has really changed. We saw slippage to the downside after really coming back towards that 200 EMA, and we're just pulling up right now back towards the 50 EMA at the point of recording. Now, we'll note here that the stochastic RSI momentum indicator is looking like it's moving up quite rapidly. This is showing us weakness in the movement to the upside. Shows that there's not enough momentum to kind of slow down the move of the stochastic from the low side to the high side. Where do I think this is likely to go? More than likely, we've just gone past equilibrium here. We're just on the 50 EMA at this point of recording. We're just going to push on through it, as you can kind of see here. The obvious area is this area of resistance and previous support. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly mark that on the chart here, just so you guys can see what I'm referencing right across here. Previous resistance and support. So this is basically 52.662 to 52.8. You can see at the moment we've still got this resistance on the 50 EMA as well. So we're looking to see if we can push on through it. You can see there's a little bit of selling pressure here. So, you know, outside of the 50 EMA, where's the next kind of obvious areas? Well, we have a little bit of 52.268 and then obviously the area that I just marked up here. So we'll look for this move slightly higher before potentially coming back down. We are running out of momentum to the upside at the moment though. 200 EMA is also up here. So over the next few hours, we might find that the 200 EMA comes into our yellow box area and as such could become an area of resistance in itself, right? So currently at the point of recording, that 200 EMA sits at 52.887 and it wouldn't be too much of a drop to think of this going down towards the 52.8, which gets us into that yellow box area of resistance. Okay, so on our hourly chart, it's looking interesting, but also boring at the same time. If we zoom out, you can see all we've really been doing is just ranging sideways and slightly slipping down deeper and deeper as price gets suppressed by both the 50 and 200 EMAs. Ultimately, our journey is to move down. We are targeting out 35 to 39 cent. This is a fifth wave movement. This really long sideways ranging movement here isn't really uncommon within larger kind of structures, but where it is uncommon is the fact that it's taken a long period of time for this to get its momentum moving back to the downside. So this is a positive to a degree. We do want to kind of see price rally up higher than 59.739 if we want to be super bullish on it. But this is a little bit out of character considering it's an hourly chart and you're seeing a long grind to the sideways motion here. But we haven't really got confirmation that we can be done with the idea of moves to the downside until we break up higher than that 59 cent area, right? So 59.739. So until that happens, you know, we are still having to kind of consider this a fifth wave move to the downside, where this being a wave 2 before we come down towards more 45, 46, and then bounce from there, heading down into those lows again. So it could take a little bit of time here and to play out, but for the most part, our hourly chart is giving us a pretty clear direction at the moment, which is to the downside, unless, of course, proven otherwise, which we know would happen at 59.739. Okay, so if we want to be bullish, that's kind of the target that the bulls are targeting. They wanted to kind of push the price up towards the 60 cent area. In doing so, they can break this bearish structure to the downside, and we can continue that run upwards, which will be fantastic. However, if they can't get that 60 cent and the bears kind of try to push this down, then, of course, there's a few targets to kind of be thinking about, 45 cent and obviously all the way down to 39 cent. So there are a few things there on the hourly chart. Let's take this up into the daily. Inside the daily chart here, you can see that we're actually mirroring this or trying to track this down as a potential 5-wave move. We're not yet there. I mean, we have hit technically 1.618 already, but I suspect that we probably still have further to the downside to go here before we can kind of say that we're done and dusted with the wave 3. Now, it is possible that wave 3 is done slightly higher or complete a little bit higher here before we kind of move down into the bigger 5th wave, where we are targeting down here at this previous area of support, coming in at around 30 to 33 cent. And if we do have this complete out as a 5-wave pattern, then we're going to slip down even further, because you can't just have randomly 5 waves placed. They have to be a part of a bigger play. So in an ideal world, we kind of want to break this bearish structure so that we can then actually have minimal downside. However, if we do not, then we are likely to see further slippage, and we're likely to see a new bear market low point for XRP if that is the case. So just bear that in mind. Ultimately, though, I'm quite confident that that won't be the case. I think eventually this will break, but we have to be realistic at times. We are below the 50 EMA, below the 200 EMA. You can see that we've really just been trying our best to kind of close above that 200 EMA on the daily time frame, and it isn't happening. You can see that the stochastic RSI on our daily time frame is rising up towards the overbought area, so it's not got a lot of strength on this daily time frame, unfortunately. So, or we might see some moves on the smaller time frames looking pretty good, but on these larger ones, it's not looking anywhere near where it needs to. Okay, so yes, the momentum indicator is not an indication of future price predictions as such. It does show us, though, that there isn't really a lot of strength in this move upwards, and that's why the stochastic RSI is moving the way that it is. Ultimately, we're below the 200 EMA, so we should be bearish. That's by default. If you're below the 200 daily EMA, that is your trend filter. We are trending down at this point because we are below the 200 EMA. If you just follow traditional analytical kind of terms from like the Forex market, that's kind of how you would perceive it. You wouldn't want to necessarily go long on a market that is below the 200 EMA unless there was a good reason to do so. Obviously, aligning this with our 5-wave move, we are bearish. We're below the 200 EMA. The 50 EMA is on trajectory to come down lower than the 200 EMA as well, so it's not looking overly strong at the moment on the daily time frame. So just bear those things in mind. Taking it up into the weekly, you can see that we hit our C-wave target at that 93.8 cent area. We actually had this targeted out slightly lower than that. It was 93.76, so we're 0.4 off. But for the most part, we are very, very close to kind of getting that one there. We've pulled back down. We didn't hold the area that we were looking for. We were looking to find 52 to 58 cent being the support, and at the moment it's now resistance, and it's not looking good for XRP. Although the 50 EMA is above the weekly 200 EMA, we are currently finding the support on the 50 EMA. If we were to lose this, unfortunately, we are likely to come down more towards the 200 EMA that sits at 47.95 cent at the moment. So yeah, there's a few things to kind of consider here. We're likely to see downturn on the 50 and 200 weekly EMAs as it kind of starts to reflect this most recent price movement over the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So over the last 6 weeks, we're going to start to see the downward turn of those EMAs, specifically the 50 crossing the 200. And again, that's going to rock the market a little bit as well for XRP. So we'll bear those things in mind. We are in an oversold area. This is a positive, but we can be down here for several weeks before we actually get an upturn. It can sometimes be really quick. We come in and we come straight out, and sometimes we can be down here for several months. So just understand it's not really timing the market, and it's not really showing us anything price-wise. All it's showing us is there is now the potential for selling momentum to kind of ease a little bit. Okay, so that's kind of showing us on the weekly time frame. Not so much on the daily or anything like that, but the weekly is showing us that, okay, we might start to stabilize a little bit before we get a reversal back to the upside on the weekly time frame. Let's go ahead and jump into the world of on-chain data. So membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 7-day free trial across all the different plans that we have. This 7-day free trial is something that I think that many people will utilize and take advantage of the things that we have to offer. And then as such, keep it, because I think there's actually a lot of value in what it is that we do for members. Now, you can sign up to a 7-day free trial, and if it isn't for you, you can go to your profile area, you can go to the subscriptions, and you can cancel it. If you do not cancel it, you will be charged, just an FYI. Ultimately, there's lots of different perks, everything from, member-only videos all the way through to technical analysis on request, what the team are buying and selling, staking, all those kind of things, and of course on-chain data, which if we come over to the data zone, we can see that there is XRP on-chain data, which we're going to come on a bit into here. It's going to load up a bit of an overview, and we can see that there's $1,000 in fees in the last 24 hours for 946,000 transactions. The average transaction value is $5,624, for example. Really good kind of overview. But we're going to focus in on the wallet counts today. I'm just going to take a look and review as kind of where things are in the last 24 hours, right? So 2,111 wallets with over 1 million XRP in them. Okay, and we saw some interesting things kind of circulating around on X, talking about how there's a $1.5 million worth of dollars of XRP was purchased, right? Well over 1 million XRP. And well, what do we actually see in terms of the wallet counts that hold over 1 million XRP, right? Well, we can see that over 90 days it's up 1.15%, but in the last 30 days it's actually down 0.33%. In the last 7 days it's down 0.33%. So it's not looking like it's got a lot of growth in the last 30 days, right? It's actually decreasing, not increasing. Over the last 365 days, though, there have been an increase in the number of wallets that have over 1 million XRP by 11.99%. So it's looking very, very strong from that point of view, with lots of accumulation at that real wealthy level. Now, when we come into 100,000 XRP or more per wallet, we can see there's 33,000. And again, there's slippage in these. They've been decreasing over the last 90 days pretty consistently as we have seen downward price pressure, right? We can see, though, it is up 19.49% in the last 365 days. So profits are being taken as price moved up towards that 93-cent area, right? So again, it looks like it's looking good accumulation over a longer term period, but most recently started to see a little bit of a shakeout. Now, when it comes to 10,000 XRP, more in the realm of retail investors, the standard kind of investor who's, dabbling around a little bit in XRP, what do we see? Well, we can see that it's up 19.49% in the last 365 days. We can see that it's actually up now a little bit more, 31.63%, because it just updated. So 31.63% there in the last 365 days. And we can see that actually it's got accumulation even in the last 7 days and 30 days, right? 0.61 and 1.49, right? So we can see that there's an accumulation at the retail layer. And we can also take a look at this on the lower side at 1,000 XRP or more. Again, another retail layer, 846,000 wallets, and again, 28.92% in the last year. So there's a lot of accumulation happening, but ultimately in the last 7 to 30 days, we actually see selling pressure from the higher side of the wallets and purchasing pressure from the low side, as in basically XRP is just changing hands between participants. Now, from the news side, what do we see? Well, we see some interesting stuff and developments of the Ripple and the SEC battle. So memo revelation. I don't think it's a revelation so much. It's something that's kind of, maybe gone by and not been noticed by so many people, but I think it's been spoken about before anyway. But Ripple's legal battle takes an unexpected turn. Could price surge to $1? No, it won't on the back of this. But this is something that's reasonably old, but nonetheless, it's kind of resurfaced a little bit. So Deaton highlights a 2018 internal memo where the SEC's enforcement lawyers did not label XRP as a security. And Ripple's XRP currently undervalued amidst a bearish sentiment. But the price may surge long term. Yes, I think the price will surge long term. We obviously know that there's potential in that, but you are talking long term, not short term or even medium term. Ultimately, this memo is basically referencing some internal lawyers at the SEC, enforcement lawyers at the SEC, basically didn't use the word that XRP is a security. And so it's an interesting one. You can obviously dive into this. It's on Twitter a little bit now, a bit more than maybe it was before. But basically, there was a memo that the court basically said that it didn't have to disclose, that the SEC didn't have to disclose, but it was obviously mentioned in, I think it was Judge Torres's notes about it, right? So there's notes about a memo. No one's got eyes on it because it wasn't disclosed, but it references that XRP may not be a security, and that's an interesting thing. Now, I don't know obviously the context behind it. No one does. It's disclosed. It's not been disclosed, sorry. So it's not out there, so no one really knows the understanding of it. And there was obviously a rationale and a reason as to why the judge thought it was privileged information and should not be disclosed. But it was also noteworthy that they are basically referencing XRP. This is the enforcement lawyers at the SEC are referencing XRP as not a security in that particular memo. So it's an interesting one. You can speculate about it. It's a smoking gun and all that kind of stuff, but it's not something that is disclosed so that we do not know what it is, and so forth. So we are where we are. Nothing has really changed in regards to current positioning with that lawsuit. But the community around XRP loves to kind of dive into kind of the world of speculation as to kind of what is potentially going on within that memo and so forth. It's interesting for sure. Something maybe that in time will become a little bit more apparent. Let's move over to the exchanges, right? Because if we take a look at liquidations in the last 24 hours for XRP, it's $1 million. OKX is the exchange with the most amount of liquidations at $334,000, of which 96.15% were long positions that got liquidated and 3.85% were short positions. Now, at a total level, we are saying that basically $960,000 were long positions that were wiped out. And it's not too uncommon. If we take a look at the price action, we can see that price action was obviously slipping to the downside. And so therefore, a lot of people were liquidated. But I think this comes down to incorrect, proper risk management when it comes to trading. It's more become a bit of a gambling mentality of just going short and not using proper stop losses in correct places, or using too much leverage and getting the better of people. Because essentially, if you had used proper kind of risk management, you might not be necessarily in the red right now for these particular liquidations. Even though these liquidations are rather small, this is a minority, realistically speaking. OKX represents 31% of all liquidations, Binance 27%, Bybit 26%, Huobi 8%, CoinEx 5%, and then nothing after that. Unusual activity within liquidations? I would say not really. I mean, CoinEx has creeped up a little bit more than you would expect, but we are talking really small numbers at this point in time, so it's not like it's a big alarm bells are ringing or anything like that. Now, when it comes to exchanges, I often say it's important that we decentralize our approach to exchanges as retail investors, and that we sign up to as many of these exchanges as we possibly can. In doing so, that allows us the maximum amount of flexibility when it comes to a bull market. We do not necessarily know which of these exchanges are going to survive the bear market long term, and in a bull market, sometimes these platforms are so sought after, or such high demand to log on and trade on them, that you cannot log on because there's just not enough bandwidth to do so, and these websites go down, these exchanges go down. And so in a bull market, it can actually be very difficult to sell your cryptocurrency assets at the price that you think you want to, without running additional risks of leaving your crypto on exchanges with sell orders associated with them, which obviously is not something that we would kind of say is a good idea by any stretch of the imagination. So by decentralizing your operation, making sure that you have access to as many of these exchanges as you possibly can, making sure that you know how to deposit fiat, withdraw fiat, how to deposit crypto, how do you withdraw crypto, do you need to do KYC, do you need to link bank accounts, do all of these things, and you'll set yourself up for success in the future. As many of you guys know, Bitget is my go-to platform at the moment. I use it for 100% of my leverage trades and 90 to 95% of my spot trades. Okay, there is an affiliate link for Bitget down in the description below. If you do use that link, you are eligible for up to $8,000 of rewards, depending on how much you deposit and trade on the platform. Now, they do some fantastic things outside of just the sign-up bonuses and rewards that you can get. They've got trading competitions, KCGI, for example, that's ongoing right now. So why not sign up to that while you're at it using the affiliate link in the description below? Join the cheeky team. And also, we use the affiliate link in the description below. We use that for our own trading competitions that's not associated with Bitget or affiliated with YouTube in any way. Something that Chris and myself do in our Discord server, which is a weekly competition. It renews every single week, depending on the person who has traded the best ROI in a 1 week period, right? So the best percentage gains that you've made in that week, you'll basically win the little trading competition that we hold down in our Discord server. So there's lots of different benefits and perks to signing up to Bitget. So if you haven't done so already, why not check it out? Linked in the description below. You'll also find many other exchanges down there. Just because Bitget is my go-to platform at the moment doesn't necessarily mean it's the only exchange that I am registered on. I am on Binance, Coinbase, KuCoin, Gate.io, Bybit, MEXC, you name it, I'm pretty much on it. And this is because I think it's a good strategy to make sure that we have exposure to as many of these exchanges as we can, so it allows us the maximum flexibility in the future. And of course, we do not keep our crypto on the exchange. We always use the Ledger hardware wallet, keyword there being hardware wallet. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again. But ultimately, well worth checking it out. Links are all in the description below. This brings me on then into the trading section for today. We'll see, we still have this theoretical short. This is not one I entered into, but we do see ourselves getting rejected here on the 50 EMA. I still think there's a little bit more growth in this one potentially before we can maybe start going down a little bit more and shorting the market. But I still see this as a potential trade opportunity where we are looking for the fifth wave move to the downside, which is pretty hefty in itself. Ultimately, this particular trade idea was something that we had entry on at 54.389, stop loss at 60.327, and take profit at 39.221. Essentially, this gives us a risk reward ratio of about 2.55, and we would not need much in the way of leverage because this is a pretty hefty percentage move in itself. So small leverage 5, possibly if you really wanted to push the boat out 10x, but I wouldn't really think that's too much you need to do. And this is a multi-day, multi-week trade idea. It would last quite a significant period of time, and it's just how I would approach the market and my thoughts and opinions on it. Now, bearing in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot give anyone financial advice. All I can do is share my thoughts and opinions on the data in the charts as I personally perceive it, and ultimately how I would go ahead and trade this one if I were interested in doing so. Okay, so if you have got access to a financial advisor, you should probably consult them before doing any kind of trading activity, because trading is incredibly risky and you do stand the risk of losing absolutely everything, specifically if you're using way too much leverage and things like that. Ultimately though, I am just a guy on YouTube, and you can choose to listen to me or not. It's entirely up to you as to whether you do or not. Ultimately, I think I'm going to leave the video right there, and if you have found this useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, you're missing a trick. Check it out, linked in the description below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.